I'm Johnny Vegas, and you're listening to KopTalk with Dunk. And all you other Liverpool sites, just stop embarrassing yourself, all right?
Yo, what up? This your boy Smooth, straight from New York. You're listening to KopTalk Podcast. Remember this, you never walk alone, but if you fuck with us, you walk with a limp.
All right, guys, how's it going? It is Tuesday, the 4th of April, 2023, and you're listening to the KopTalk Podcast in association with footballclubshares.com, where you can buy real shares in real football clubs, and you don't have to be a peasant either. Hey, how's it going, guys? You all right? Well, listen, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sunny morning today. So I've got all the doors and all the windows. I can't sit inside, guys, like completely locked in on a day like this. So you might hear the birds chirping away in the background, and you might hear the odd vehicle go by as well. All right. How you doing? You all right? Yeah, good. So I don't know where to start, really. Obviously, it is match day, Liverpool versus Chelsea this evening. I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know about you guys. This is an opportunity for us. Chelsea, they've got their own problems going on at the moment. That game kicks off at 8 o'clock. It's on Sky Sports. I just want to look at the Premier League table. Chelsea are currently 11th on 38 points, which sounds terrible, but Liverpool are only on 42 points, although we do have a game in hand over them. We are 8th. Obviously, your top four is Arsenal, City, United, Spurs. Then you've got them two little spots there, 5th and 6th, United and Brighton. And then you've got 7th place, Brentford. And then outside all of those qualifying areas, if you like, positions, you've got Liverpool on 42. So we are 8 points off top four, 8 points off top four. But we do have 2 games in hand, which is good. But, the likes of Newcastle and that, they're not dropping points either. They're going for it. So Newcastle and Tottenham, we really need them to sleep up. Manchester United as well. Is it? Yeah, I don't think anyone expects us to finish in the top 4. I certainly don't. But never say never when it comes to football. You never know, do you? I don't know where to start today, really, guys. I mean, yesterday we obviously had the pre-match press conference, and as addressed on KopTalk TV, my YouTube channel, I thought it was worrying that the manager was having to address his position or, make reference to how he probably wouldn't be in the job now if it wasn't for his past success at the club. Obviously, he was responding to the other sackings in the Premier League, but it just shows you what's been on his mind. To come out with something about himself means at some point, subconsciously prior, he's realised that, right? I don't think you need to be, a rocket scientist to understand that. And I think that's worrying. So first of all, I'll tell you why it's worrying. One, it means that he's under massive pressure himself before anybody even says anything. And two, we are now publicly acknowledging, the topic of, dismissal, sacking and things like that. Now, I don't think for 1 minute they're going to pull the trigger on him at the moment, right? It would be suicide. They know they would be fucked if they do that, guys. There would be anarchy, right? People would be on the streets, and I'm not even joking. I love Jurgen Klopp, and as you know, he can't be excused from everything. There's a lot of problems that he's got to address himself, and that he's to blame for. And I think he'd be the first to admit that. But it's not just him that's got problems, is it? We've got the owners, right? They're a problem. The players, they're a problem. Even the fans are a problem for allowing this situation to happen. Now, you might say, well, how are they allowing it? Well, because a lot of the fans do not put pressure on the owners and defend them, these so-called top reds. If Jurgen ends up going at some point, I would be, really, thinking about them and thinking, well, it's your own stupid fucking fault. You allowed it. You told us this was acceptable, But I saw a great post on the members' website yesterday. The VIP members' website, of course. And it said ownership can't fix lack of effort. Now, I would love you guys to be on the members' website. That's where every single thing is, all the extra videos, all the extra podcasts, episodes, the debates, the important people are on here. Me. No, but it's community, it's family, and these people have been with me, many of them since the 1990s. This separates, I think, the men from the boys and the women from the girls. We have to include the women as well, don't we? It's a very mature environment. Hey, don't get me wrong, we have plenty of ding-dongs and stuff like that, but there's no advertising. If you want to get, away from the nonsense of social media, the KopTalk VIP members website is where it is. And I will love you forever if you become a VIP member. KopTalk.com front page. I think it's on the right-hand side. Hey, listen, if you look at that and go, I can't afford that, then drop me an email, dunk@koptalk.com, and we'll sort something out. It's about, quality, not quantity. We've got to get good people on there. And if you're listening to this podcast, you should be on there. If you've stumbled on this podcast, maybe not. But if you're a long-time listener of the podcast, then you get the KopTalk gig, right? You understand it and what we try to do. And this post on the members' website, it was in the executive lounge. It was titled, Ownership Can't Fix Lack of Effort. And the member in question said, the reaction to today's latest footballing disaster has been fascinating. This was posted 3 days ago. I've seen and heard it all since the match finished. Blame is being spread from the lack of investment to Trent's dreadlocks. Once I heard Jurgen roll out the same sound bites as the defeats against Leeds, Forest, Brentford, Wolves twice, and Bournemouth, there was only one thing left for me. Jurgen has lost his magic powers with this current crop of players. The way in which they gave up was horrid. You only needed to see Ox's face when he was coming on that there was zero determination. Apparently, we didn't make a tackle in the second half. That may be BS, but equally it wouldn't surprise me. Hendo, praised by Jurgen, made 0 tackles in the whole game. Right now, Jurgen's interviews are sounding more like the days of Houllier, proud of the boys, and the latter days of Rafa and Brendan. There is no way on earth that Klopp is motivating these players like he used to. They are cooked. What's changed since Leeds, Forest, Brentford, Wolves and Bournemouth? Nothing. Despite his words and promises, nothing. So if the same things are happening, there's only one common denominator. Jurgen has lost his magic powers with this current crop of players. And I don't think we can argue with that, guys. I did respond to that yesterday, and it's a very good discussion. It's 5 pages long with some great input. And I think Jurgen has lost his magic powers. It's like, I think I said in a video yesterday, we talk about the players look like they're just not bothered. And that's usually when a manager has lost the dressing room, when they've stopped playing for him, and the inevitable happens concerning the manager, right? I'm not sure it's that, right? But that's what usually people would say is the problem when a team does that. But, as Jurgen lost the players in the other direction, has he lost that spark? Has he run out of answers? People are making comparisons to his, former clubs before he came to Liverpool. And I don't know what the answer is. So, to be honest with you, it's like the whole team, right, or squad, as Rafa would say, it needs tearing up, and we need to start again. But this is we have all these so many different factors, I think, pointing to the problems. We've got the problems with the owners, because if the boss had more players or a better quality of players, right, then maybe this wouldn't be happening. There's nobody challenging for positions as well, and I think that's massive. So players become complacent. I remember back when we were winning everything left, right, and centre in recent times, and I remember saying we're being too complacent. We're turning out like we can do anything, do anyone, and we're winning things, but each season we're not really improving the squad, and that's complacency from the ownership, from the manager himself, who prior going into this season, came out with the, we're good with what we've got. You got the journalists like James Pearce saying that no overall needed yet. All the fans, screaming saying this doesn't sound right. We need a midfielder. We need this. We need that. All right. So we know the ownership is a major issue. We know I wish the boss had more players for that competition. Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example. He knows his position is safe, right? But I'm not saying he consciously goes out with that on his mind. But imagine if he was dropped for half a dozen games because there wasn't someone else that could play, as equally as good or better than him or something. He'd be sat on the bench going, right, if I get my chance again, I'm not going to blow it. Who's threatening Mo Salah for, a run out? Do you know what I mean, guys? So it's things like that. And I also think the boss, maybe he isn't as ruthless as I'd like him to be. He's very loyal to some of his players, and there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe he's too pally with them at the moment. We're told that they're having internal meetings all the time. But, well, you can talk as long as you want. It's about actions, right? And I would like to see Jurgen actually on the edge of the pitch, side of the pitch, ranting and fucking raving at these fuckers. I really would. Because ultimately they're going to cost him his job if they don't lift their game. So, yes, we can criticise the owners for a lack of investment. Yes, we can criticise them because, the boss has only got what they give him, the tools that he's being given. But when those players go out on the pitch, they should be doing better than they are. You would agree with that, right? That 90 minutes, the owners cannot affect that 90 minutes. The manager can send them out there, but it's like they're just not bothered. And it's, I'm not happy with this, guys, right? I'm really, really fucked off with it, to be honest. And it made me think, right, when we talk about being ruthless, should the manager, right, make a sale of a key player in the squad, right, to send a signal to people? Now, the only thing is, if he did that, everyone would say, there you go, typical FSG, right? But can I just point out, I don't want to see any of our players sold, right? Our best players, that is for sure. But they all seem like they know they're safe. And I just wonder if we had a big exit that was a decision by the manager, if they'd wake up and go, oh, fucking hell, hang on a minute. Didn't see that coming. The players are very friendly, very informal. Maybe we need to shake things up a little bit. They need to be getting a little bit edgy, I think. Do you know what I mean, guys? But anyway, ownership can't fix lack of effort. And that's very true. Although some people might say, well, morale is affected by the ownership. So if there's low morale, then maybe that affects effort. But should it? Shouldn't they be professionals? Shouldn't they be pulling on that shirt every time they go out and giving their best? Are they giving their best, guys? Are they giving their best? Is the manager giving his best? I reckon Jurgen is giving his best. But his best isn't good enough at the moment. Now, I'm just going to load up something on my screen while I'm talking to you. When I record a podcast, I don't prepare things, all right? Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it means that it comes from the heart. It's authentic. It's not planned. I need to open up this article here, I think. I saw some guff on Twitter today when I woke up, and I'm going to see if I can locate it. Bear with me, guys, because it was, we're getting this. We've seen Joyce surface, right, and we've seen since then James Pearce surface with the line, trotting out the line that there's going to be significant expenditure in the summer. Let me see. There was something that I saw this morning, and it really pissed me off. And I will be probably addressing it in a video today. James Pearce, FSG know that serious investment is needed this summer to help Liverpool become contenders again. But it wasn't that. It was excuses. And I must... here, I think it's here. Senior FSG figures remain fully behind Jurgen Klopp. There's sympathy for the problems he's been wrestling with, from the mental and physical impact of last season's 63-game marathon to the unprecedented run of injuries this term. Now, that's attributed to James Pearce. Now, I don't know about you, but I ain't got no sympathy for any of these fuckers, guys. No. When Sir Alex Ferguson was bossing the Premier League with Manchester United, do you think he ever came out with sympathy for the players? Should there be sympathy for the manager for the mental and physical impact of last season's 63-game marathon? Why using words like marathon? That's like trying to make it sound even more, oh, poor them. Fuck right off. This is what a squad of players is about, right? If you can't play 63 games, then go and fucking work in a factory somewhere and do 12-hour shifts, guys. All right? So I can't be doing with that, guys. I don't like this nonsense. This is something I might touch on in a video today. I don't know. But I woke up and saw that, and I was like, are we having a fucking laugh? The sympathy for the... I tell you, the only place there should be sympathy with Klopp is the fact that he has to work with them American fuckers that don't support him fully. And we're not talking about spunking hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds on players. Shauno, that comes in on the streams and is a big supporter of KopTalk, and he's a good lad. He calls it necessary spending. So not reckless spending, because that's what the top Reds will throw you. Oh, we don't want them from the Middle East. We don't want reckless spending. No, but we want necessary spending, and they don't seem to do that. So I have sympathy with the manager there. But for the mental and physical impact, knock it off. You don't know what fucking that shit is. Mental, for me, right? I'm an ordinary guy just like you, right? Whether you're a lad or a lass or whatever, I'm just an ordinary person like you. And I'm sure that you have similar things in your life to me. Like every fucking single week, I'm under mental pressure, in terms of surviving and keeping your head above water. Do you know what I mean, guys? Like, how am I going to pay that? How am I going to pay this? And then a bill comes, some money comes in, go, nice one, I've got some money coming. Then a big bill comes in, oh, it's gone straight out again. And some. It's like that is mental fucking pressure. I won't be under any pressure if I was on £250,000 a fucking week. I'd be happy to sit on the bench. So I can't be doing with that shite, making excuses for them. But it won't surprise you that it came from James Pearce, will it? And then, we're talking about the unprecedented run of injuries. Yeah? Well, maybe if we had, like a proper doctor, for most of the time, 100% of the time, that would have helped. Like if the medical side of things was sorted, we know how long we had that, gaps in that situation. So to me, I just feel like the old club from top to bottom, guys, is just not working properly. From the ownership, if we're talking about FSG, to the people they've got in situ at Liverpool Football Club, to the people running Liverpool Football Club, to the manager and coaching staff, to the players, even to some sections of the fans, because you've got the fans creating problems and FSG outplanes and top Reds mocking people. People feeling uncomfortable because they're maybe not from Liverpool. There is a whole bad vibe around Liverpool Football Club at the moment. And I don't think any of you will disagree with me with that. What happened to when we're going to turn us into believers? Are you a believer now? I'm not a believer. And I think most of you guys have still... I think I'm actually a believer a bit more than most of you guys, because nearly every game we play now, the majority of supporters that come on my streams to talk to me or on the members' site, they're like, well, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow, we'll get turned over. And that can be by the bottom of the fucking, bottom of the table side. So it's grim. I don't know. I think that a change of ownership would have reset the slate, in my opinion. It would have been a good start. I think that would have given the manager, a new start, And sometimes you've got to make all these mistakes and hit problems to work out what's happening. But wipe the slate clean and go again. Jurgen Klopp 2.0. It's a bit like personal life, isn't it? My missus, I ain't seen my wife for I've seen her once in 3 years. We speak every day, but we live between two countries, and we've had our problems, But she's coming to see me 10 days from now. Right, so it's the first time she's coming back to our home in 3 years, because we've had our own shit, just like you do at a football club. But what we're doing is we're going to wipe the slate clean, hopefully. Sit down, right, what's all the problems? Right, fuck it, let's go again. Forget that. New start, let's go. Right? And that is what's needed at Liverpool, in my opinion. Not some woman sat opposite you telling you how fucking much of a good you are. But what I mean is, when you wipe the slate clean with something, it gives everyone a new start and a new opportunity to put things right. Does that make sense, guys? And I think, that can be in our relationships, that can be in work, employment, just a little shake-up, just change things, because you become complacent, And at Liverpool, I thought, when they apparently put the club up for sale, I thought that was what we needed, because it is so draining for me to see the fans arguing and divided. And I think something will give, personally, at some point. This can't go on forever, because we're going to go into next season, whether they're still as they are, the ownership, or whether they've brought in minor investment, which I don't think is going to be very exciting for us. I think we're going to another season of FSG out, and, when things go wrong again, that's going to happen. And I think the manager looks drained and looks exhausted. But, some of it's his own doing, He needs to call these fuckers out at time. And do you know what, guys? I'm not even, extreme FSG out. I acknowledge the good that they've done. And I can honestly say that. I don't really want them at the club, but I don't use every opportunity to criticise them. And but I don't know. At the end of the day, when it comes to a business, if a business is failing, what happens in a business when it's failing? Or if mistakes are made? Usually the chief executive, the person at the top of the company, the managing director, whatever, they usually step aside and go, right, let someone else deal with it. And the equivalent of that in football terms at Liverpool Football Club is the owners, And I'm convinced that would, I think that would solve anything if we got owners that came in that said, right, there's a decent, investment into the squad here. Jurgen would be upbeat. The fans would be upbeat. It would be a new period, a new dawn. And I'm sorry, guys, as much as I don't want to criticise FSG for everything, I do feel like all of these problems that we're discussing ultimately relate to them. They're at the top of the tree. And Jurgen coming out and saying, talking about being sacked and that, I think that's worrying. I think most people know that he's just responding to things, but you've got to look at it deeper and think, well, it was clearly on his mind, wasn't it, for him to say that in the first place? And we're now having debates about that. Yesterday, people saying, well, I don't think he should be sacked. And, well, it's his own fault. And this, that, and the other, and it creates that. I'm worried, guys, honestly, about everything. And I'm really, really worried that I don't think he's going to go at the moment. I don't think they're going to sack him or anything like that at all. I don't think he's ready to quit. But I could imagine it being his last season at Liverpool unless something dramatically changes, like major silverware, investment, To me, the squad, to me, it feels like it's rotten. It really does. And if you listen, it's very easy for us all to have these opinions. And if you sat down with me in a bar now and we're having a drink and said, right, Doug, how do we fix it? I'd be scratching my head. And I think that's what Jurgen's doing. And I think he said in many interviews after games that, we're just going to try and work it out what it is. That's my job. And the only thing that I could honestly say to you that I think would give the club the lift it needs is to have a change of ownership. But I can't go down that route of getting stressed out with it all again. So, worrying press conference yesterday. Should the boss, do you think the manager should be more ruthless with those fucking players? Does he need to be more ruthless? Does he act someone, I put this out in a question yesterday on KopTalk TV, and I saw Fabinho's name come up quite a bit. If people feel safe and secure, you become complacent, even if it's not your intention to be, because you fall into routine. And that's like what they're doing, they're just turning up. That's how it feels. But I really do welcome your input on this. And emails make me record podcasts because you put me under pressure, right? So if you email podcast@koptalk.com, or if you go to koptalkpodcast.com and use the contact form, if I wake up to emails, I think, I better do a podcast. So if it goes quiet for a few days, that's me thinking, well, what is there to talk about? You know what I'm saying, guys? So, and I read everyone's emails out, And if for some reason I've never read your email out, you need to find a way of contacting me because it's not reaching me. There's no way in the world I would ignore anybody, okay? So I'll have a look at what James Pearce has been saying in his latest guff. I was very disappointed with an article that he wrote the other day, but we don't need to go over that. But, it's just, I don't know. These journalists are all doing my head in. I've just noticed that Joyce has come out with more, Joyce basically came out, didn't he, yesterday? And I agree with this. And prior to that article, I was saying to you guys, look, I know most of you think it's not going to happen, but I'm actually more upbeat and positive about the possibility of us signing Bellingham, right? Not Bellamy, which sometimes I say Bellamy by mistake, but Bellingham, right? And yes, we have people that are extremely positive. Oh, it's been agreed ages ago. They just can't announce it yet. I mean, that's just ridiculous, right? They're the kids. And then you've got the ones at the very opposite side saying, we'll never do that. FSG out. They'll never finance it. Then you've got people in the middle. I'm not even in the middle. I'm like above middle with positivity and was prior to the recent reporting about this from people that you would deem credible. And there's reasons for that I feel that way. And it's just things that you hear, things that people say to me. It's not wishful thinking. I'm not naive. So when Paul Joyce comes out with an article saying, well, you know, the club will back Jurgen if he wants, you know, in fact, he said we'll go all in for Bellingham if he wants him, kind of thing. That, to me, I believed that. But it was made clear in that article, right, that Klopp has to decide whether to go all in for Bellingham and lose his budget, more or less the majority of his budget, or sidestep that one, ignore Bellingham, and go for additional numbers at lower transfer fees. And that, to me, means that someone's been in Joyce's ear to say that, right? And I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure there was a little dig in the last paragraph at Ward, you know, the outgoing sporting director, which I thought was interesting. I mean, we haven't even got a new sporting director, guys, and we're months away from, you know, the summer, the transfer window. We're told that, you know, Julian Ward is as committed as ever to the position and it's business as usual. But he's still finding time to talk to rival clubs about a job that he apparently doesn't want anyway, because we're told now, since he rejected Ajax, it wasn't them rejecting him, of course, since he rejected Ajax, it's now emerged that, well, he wants a break anyway, he wants time out. But he's still finding time to talk. Why is he talking to people about possible employment if he wants a break to be with his family? You know what I mean? We haven't got a new sporting director lined up yet. We need that to break. And that's going to be a big distraction, because when they break that, that's going to be the PR shit's going to kick in around that, okay? Be careful of that. And they need to do it soon. So in that article, Joyce says all that. And remember what I say to you. When you read an article from someone like Joyce or James Pearce or whichever journalist it is, each one has this different... Ornstein, for example, I think is... Ornstein and Joyce are the two to listen to. James Pearce you listen to anyway, just for the lulz, okay, just to see what he's saying. Ornstein from The Athletic, in my opinion, and based on what I know and the people I speak to at the club, he is close and has John Henry's ear, right, or vice versa. They, you know, you scratch my back. That's that sort of thing, right? Definitely Ornstein is, when you read his articles, try and read them and think, oh, or ask yourself, actually, right, let me not program your mind. What I mean is, when you read an article by him, ask yourself where it sounds like that might have come from any claims he's making. So if he breaks that Liverpool Football Club is now up for sale, like back in November, where did that come from? Right, that kind of thing. And then just think to yourself, when you read it, is Dunk right? Is Dunk right here? Does it sound like that's coming from directly from FSG? Now with Joyce, I think he's slightly different. I think he's more connected to the club rather than the ownership. However, the ownership do have someone in place at Liverpool, and that's where I think the Joyce connection comes in. So when you read an article from Joyce, I want you to say to yourself, does this sound like it's come from someone within Liverpool Football Club? Right? Is Dunk right? And let me know if and there'll be times when they cross over, of course. But I think, you know, I'm 100% certain, but I can't tell you what you must believe. That's only decisions that you guys can do. It's not for me to say this is this and that's that and I'm right. Even though I do the DKB, Dunk knows best, just for a bit of fun, by the way, winds the haters up. But I would never do that, guys. It's up for you guys to, you know, you're intelligent enough, you can work out. But I'm just trying to give you some little pointers there and see if you think that. Ornstein FSG, Joyce LFC. That's what I think. All right. And you know, the manager has to decide now. Do I go all in on Bellingham? And if he does, you know, we know that Bellingham wants to come and play for us. Right. We know that his father, I think it's Mark, has stepped up conversations in Liverpool very recently. I know a little bit more about that, but if I was to say specifically something to do with that, I think it might out the source. And I don't like using the word source or contact. I prefer to say friend. But I don't think it's a good idea to back that up. I think you're just going to trust me with that the contact with his father is very hot at the moment, and that's why I think Joyce has come out with the Bellingham still wants to play for Liverpool thing. The downside to the father is he's also spoken to other people as well. All right, so don't just think that puts us ahead, but I think that there's a good chance of this happening. Real Madrid here in Spain, their propaganda mouthpieces in the media, they're running the line of that Bellingham wants to go to Real Madrid, but his family want to move back to England. Real Madrid are a very they're like one of them birds, the bird that you might see in a pub on a weekend or a bar, and she fucking loves herself and she thinks she can have anyone, and everyone in that bar wants to be with her. That's what Real Madrid are like. But the reality is that's not always the case, love. All right? You know what I'm saying? So Real Madrid are probably willing to pay a bit more in terms of a transfer fee, but not, cannot or will not match or equal personal terms offered by Manchester City or Liverpool. And don't be too disturbed by Manchester City's interest. There's been times when we've signed like Virgil van Dijk, for example. The club made that happen, right? So if that player wants to come to us, if Jurgen wants him, I think it's going to happen. Now, my opinions can change, guys. I might have a different opinion by the end of today. It depends on what's going on, what people are saying. But keep the faith on that one, and let's see how things pan out. Okay. So should we move on a little bit? Obviously, we've got the game tonight. We don't need to talk too much about that. There's no point going over the press conference and team news and things, because I'm sure you're all up to date with that. If you're not, there's something wrong. You should be. God knows how that's going to pan out. A defeat or something going sideways in that game is going to cause a big backlash. But you know what, guys? I'm going to be honest with you. When we lose a game, right, I don't feel like I used to feel. Like, it used to be the end of the world to me. What I do now is when we lose a game, I just think that puts the ownership under more pressure. Not the manager. I think the owners. So I'm not saying I want us to lose games, but what I'm saying is that I try to find a positive from a negative, and I think, well, fuck it. At least it puts them under pressure. As it does when clubs are bought, or invested in, like Newcastle. That was the first thing I thought. Most fans were like, oh my God, now Newcastle. I was like, nice one. Because that puts them fuckers under pressure. Same if Manchester United are sold. And what if Tottenham find a buyer? If Manchester United are sold, and then Tottenham find a buyer, we're the only ones that are like left out, guys. So they're doomed then. So you might not want your rivals to find investment, but it could actually help us as well, as daft as that may seem. So what should we do? Let's close down some of these browsers. I was going to talk a little bit about the game tonight, team news and things like that, but I think I'm going to leave that, and we're going to move on to. Let's have a look. Today's transfer gossip. Is there anything on there that I want to mention to you guys? Well, there was an article in the Daily Mail. I don't know if you've seen that about the goalkeeping situation with Kelleher ready to be moved. I had a dream about Kelleher last night. That's weird, isn't it? And that hasn't just come into my head now. I knew I was going to mention Kelleher today, and when I saw it on the screen, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I dreamt about him last night. He was amazing. And I think we'd gone with him as our first choice goalkeeper. And that'll have been because of my video yesterday saying, should we sell a big name player just to fucking show a bit of like, you're not fucking, you're not guaranteed. That's where that's come from. Absolute madness, obviously. Anyway, Kelleher, we expect him to go, raise a few bob in the summer. Liverpool will be looking out for another goalkeeper, as backup. There's a lot of discussion about the game tonight. We have said, I don't know if I said this in my last podcast, but I've certainly said it in the videos and things recently, that I don't know, let's roll back a week or nearly a week or something. It was certainly last week. I said I expect now that we'll start to see credible transfer speculation now. and that we will start to see things heating up that's real. In other words, Liverpool are stepping up their attempts in recruitment. So you go from that period where you're initially sounding out a player, making inquiries, informal inquiries. I think Liverpool are now at the stage where they're stepping up their recruitment. And I said this last week, yeah. And since then, we've seen some very positive links, I think, and ones that sound more credible than the guff that we are subjected to every day, which is usually the same links, just the same articles, but just written in a different order, right? Now, Caicedo was heavily linked with us earlier, like back in January, I think he was. But he obviously, he stayed where he was. I think this is one that you should keep an eye on. I think this is something that I would have said to you every week, all season. You definitely have to keep an eye on that one. This is in a Daily Mail article, which I have here in front of me, which I think was from yesterday. Excuse me. I need a cup of tea. I'm trying to see if I can find it for you, but I can't. I don't think it's necessary to read the article to you, but I do think that you need to keep an eye on that one, guys. As you know, Matheus Nunes as well. Mason Mount. I think these are like three players. If you think about those three players, you can see, all of those, can't you, at Liverpool? I think, but then, is the money for Buggerlugs for Bellingham? So anyway, the point is, at the moment, certainly already this week, I have seen a change in the way that players are being linked to us or mentioned to us, and by whom. Maybe you don't see that, because obviously you guys have a life, right? I literally study everything every day for you, and I just think that we're in that different stage now. So you've got to keep your ears and your eyes open, and the stuff that you start to read now, I think, is going to be more credible than it was a few weeks ago. But again, obviously, it depends on who's making those claims. If in doubt, send me an email and we'll go over it. So what else can we talk about? Shall we have a look at what's in today's mainstream media? We've got Talk Sport here. It says Graham Potter has rejected the chance to take over as Leicester manager following his sacking at Chelsea. The Mail say Potter will wait until the summer before taking his next job. I don't particularly want to quote from that newspaper, but let's just say a certain publication is linking former Barcelona and Spain manager Luis Enrique as a frontrunner for Chelsea. The Telegraph say Chelsea want to interview 5 candidates for the vacant managerial position: Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, Mauricio Pochettino, Napoli's Luciano Spalletti, and one other. It sounds funny when it says "and one other." The Guardian, Sporting Lisbon manager Ruben Amorim and Eintracht Frankfurt boss Oliver Glasner are also under consideration. And Sky Sports say Chelsea's hierarchy have concerns over former Bayern Munich boss Nagelsmann's age of 35. So basically everyone is wanted by Chelsea, okay? The Athletic, Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag sees England captain Harry Kane as his first choice striker option this summer, but the 29-year-old is open to signing a new contract at Tottenham. The Manchester Evening News said that England defender Harry Maguire, 30, will be put up for sale at United this summer, with Ten Hag calling for the club to be more ruthless in clearing out the squad. That's my point, isn't it, guys? Do you get my drift? Is that not what we want to see or hear? The difference or the problem with us is we can't really afford to be ruthless because we need all hands on deck, right? And why is that? Because of a lack of investment. So the issue goes back to the ownership again. Is the manager prevented from wielding the axe? Because what the fuck can he do then? And another thing, I think it's Harvey Elliott's birthday today, or it's around now. I think it might be today. He's 20, right? He's a kid. Do you think Harvey Elliott would get in our, rivals teams as like a first choice? I mean, I know he's not first choice at Liverpool, but what do you think about him? Is he the answer? I know, you could look and say, well, give him a chance. He's young, and I always do give people a chance. But I'm just looking at some of the players that came through the ranks at Liverpool at that age and made the position their own. And Carvalho, what the fuck's going on there, guys? It's very strange, isn't it? Anyway, The Athletic. Manchester United have held exploratory talks about signing France fullback Benjamin Pavard, 27, from Bayern Munich. He was linked with us once in a very weakly way. I can't see us getting involved. I wouldn't know. It'd be interesting to see. Look at me. This is where I do. Oh, I'm not reading all that shit. I was just going to say, I wonder what kind of transfer fee he would be. They would be commanding for him. Let me just quickly put it into Google and see if anything comes up there. Benjamin Pavard, right back. I don't see anything coming up as a valuation. 30 million euros. That's not bad, is it? That's all right. Now, do you not think that that's let's just imagine that Benjamin Pavard is the answer. He's a good player. He's a full back. Let's just, if you don't know anything about him, it doesn't matter. But there's a player, Barcelona, Inter Milan, linked with him. It says here that Barcelona can sign him for 15 million euros. I don't know about that, but if I just get his Wikipedia up here in front of me, just the initial blurb. So 27 years of age, right? He plays as a right back for Bayern Munich and France, right? And he's also capable of playing as a centre back. So that's a versatile player, right? I don't know anything about this kid, right? I do know that he was mentioned with us once before. Is that not the kind of player that you want to see added to the squad? So he's not 30 million euros, guys, maybe 30 million euros that would then put a player under threat at Liverpool. And that's what I see our rivals doing. That's what they seem to do. We seem to have like a best 11, theoretically, and that's it, because there isn't usually a lot of competition for players at the club. So do you understand what I'm saying there? Let's just say, oh yeah, he's a great player, but the manager would go, well, I can't get him because I can't afford 25, 30 million euros, which isn't a lot of money when it comes to players today. This is an international player, of course. Do you understand the point I'm making there? We don't seem to do that. The competition is weak at Liverpool, I think. Florian Plettenberg, United have begun talks over the signing of Bayer Leverkusen and Netherlands fullback Jeremy Frimpong, 22. Mundo Deportivo say that the Red Devils are also set to rival Chelsea for the permanent signing of Portugal forward Felix from Atletico Madrid. He's 23. The Mail, Tottenham are considering a summer move for Leicester 26-year-old England midfielder James Maddison. Football Insider say Arsenal and Chelsea are interested in Everton's 21-year-old Belgian midfielder Amadou Onana, who is valued at £70 million. Fabrizio Romano, Mo Salah, as he likes to shout. Bayern Munich will not activate the €70 million, which is £61 million clause to make Cancelo's loan from Man City permanent, but may try and negotiate a reduced price for the 28-year-old Portugal fullback. Football Insider, they think Tottenham will sound out Brendan Rodgers about becoming their new manager following his sacking at Leicester. I don't think the fans would like that. Team talk, Arsenal have held talks with Belgian midfielder Yuri Tielemans, 25, whose contract at Leicester runs out this summer. Again, these are the kind of players that Liverpool are sniffing around, guys. Absolutely. Let's just leave it at that. Football Insider, a Saudi Arabian club have a strong interest in Aston Villa and Brazil forward Philippe Coutinho, who is 30 now. Don't hear much about him now, do you guys? Standard, they report that Chelsea have a verbal agreement to sign Ecuadorian midfielder Kendry Páez, 15, from Independiente del Valle in a deal that could be worth more than £17.5 million. The Mail say the Blues have ramped up their interest in Atalanta and Denmark striker Rasmus Højlund, 20. And finally, 90 Min, it's not a publication or a media outlet or whatever you want to fucking call it that I'd pay attention to. But Newcastle United are one of a number of Premier League clubs showing interest in Man City's 21-year-old English midfielder Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who is currently on loan at Burnley. Okay, are we ready to advance? Is it time to give the squad a mention? I think it is. Shall we give the squad a mention? Now, we have a new legend today, guys. We fucking do. Can you believe it? It seems like ages since we've had someone join the squad. So I'm very excited about this. Absolutely. And this is Lee T. And we're going to give Lee T a shout out when we go through the legends in a moment. Lee, I cannot thank you enough for supporting me and walking with me. All these people that I'm going to give a nod to make this podcast possible. And it is that straightforward, simple, guys, honestly. The podcast doesn't make a lot of revenue, but when a little payment comes in once a month or whatever, I mean, it goes in the bank and it leaves the same day, trust me. But it helps, it does help. And I'm very, very grateful to anyone that supports me. So, Lee, welcome to the squad, and thank you for putting your faith with me. So if you'd like to join the squad, as Rafa would say, you can go to www.KopTalkPodcast.com, and for the cost of a coffee or a vodka, whichever way you want to look at it, or a beer, whatever, once a month, get me a drink once a month if you like, you get all the adverts removed, which I think is worth it fucking straight away. What you talk, 75p a week, is it something like that? It gets rid of all the adverts and guff, and you can listen to the bonus episodes when I do them, when there's something private that I prefer to keep a little bit more low key, and know that you're helping a brother out. People say you never walk alone, don't? Well, there's a way of making sure that I don't. So I'd like to give a shout out to our supporters. That's right. We've got Wayne Brown and Tom Brown. We've got TG. We got Simon Digweed, Mark Bingley. We got Jimmy Negrette, that is. Jamie motherfucking Gilmore. We got Harry. We got Hamza 1996. We've got Glyn Taylor and Craig Halford. We got Clint and Aaron as well. And we also have James Braid and Liam Buckland. So they are my supporters. I'm very, very grateful, guys. We then have our legends, Tyler Dean Williams, Scott Cheatham, who will be dropping off this list, I think, because he's become a KopTalk VIP member. So he'll be listening to the extra stuff through there and whatnot. So I do appreciate that, Scott, that you jumped onto the main site. So Tyler Dean Williams, Scott Cheatham, we've got Paul MC, we've got Matt Meeker, we've got Lee T. All right, welcome to the squad. Thank you very much. We've got James Lee, Jack Wood, we've got Jack Rudgley as well. Big Wave Dave and Andrew Evans. These are my legends, guys. And then we've got the royalty, Michael Couchman. We've got John Watt. We've got David Sutcliffe, and of course Adam Naylor, who is a fantastic Liverpool FC vlogger, if you like. He talks about Liverpool stuff. Adam Naylor on YouTube, and he's the only YouTuber to do with Liverpool that I watch, guys. I don't listen to any podcasts or any video channels other than Adam. I like to see what he's got to say, and it can be the same. Like, if I watch a YouTuber or listen to a podcast, they're probably talking about a lot of the things that I'm saying, the same sort of thing. So if I go and watch Adam today, he's maybe talking about the same things that I would talk about, but what I like about Adam is he'll say something and I'll think, ooh, I never thought about that, or I'll make a statement, and then when he's on a live stream with me, he'll say, "Don't, you said this the other day, and I was thinking." So it's that kind of, like, for me, I like to see what other people are saying. And it's the same when you email me, guys. You plant the seed. You might pull me up on something. Well, not pull me up, but you might give me an alternative view, or you might say, "Dunk, I was thinking about what you said last week." So that's why it's important to email me, podcast@koptalk.com, or, respond to in the comment section of the YouTube videos. I listen to everyone's views. I really do. Every comment. I can't reply to everyone. It's fucking impossible. But Adam Naylor's a good lad. So that's the squad. www.KopTalkPodcast.com if you want to help a brother out. You can move up and down the tiers at any time, so I prefer it when you move up the tiers, to be honest with you. And if you want to become a KopTalk VIP member, it's just go to KopTalk.com, and on the right-hand side, you will see. And listen, guys, when someone becomes a KopTalk VIP member, you have no idea how much pressure that takes off me. Like, I can be sat here, and then it pops up on my phone, I think, oh, fucking hell, nice one, I'll pay for that. That's what it's like running KopTalk these days. It's hard, with the social media and, I'm lucky. I've got a very good loyal following. Some of these guys here that I've just read to you have been with me for the entirety of this podcast. So I'm very appreciative. KopTalkPodcast.com. Love to give you a nod on here, and special shout out to Lee T today for becoming my latest Kop Talk legend. Thank you so much. Right, guys, I think that's going to be a lot today. There's some good conversations on the members' website. James Pierce's latest piece. There's Jude Bellingham updates from, 6 or 7 this morning. Which is, there's a live updates thread, if you like, in the scouting department about Bellingham and other players as well. There's that ownership can't fix lack of effort. That's a great discussion that's going on at the moment. Rich T, really good lad that I've actually met, someone that I consider a friend. He's been with Kop Talk, it says here, since the 1st of August 98 on his registration date. Rich is a really good lad, and he was asking on there, do we sell Salah in the summer? And then he gives, he's explaining, he's not saying that we should do that, he's just saying, should we? People are discussing that. He'll be 31 in the summer, so maybe he has 4 more years at the top maximum. So if we got an offer from, say, PSG for 70 million, would you sell? If the funds would allow Klopp to reinvest and possibly acquire 2 players, he could develop. What's your thoughts on that, guys? Podcast at KopTalk.com. And then we've got what's like a little chat room on the members' website, and they're all in there. They're talking about Joyce, Jurgen. What else they're talking about? I think they're just going over the main things that I've just mentioned. Hendo, Thiago, Bajetic. Talking about the midfielders that will be moving on and whatnot. FSG, talking about revenue losses from the Champions League and so on. So, yeah, good. Man, I love the Kop Talk members website. I like to chill out on there all day on there, to be honest with you. But I know that some of you are not in a position to do that, and I get it. So just by listening to, the podcast, you're supporting me. And, if you send an email in, you're helping, aren't you? You're giving us all something to debate. And you must have views about Liverpool Football Club. And why your views? Why shouldn't they be heard? Your views are absolutely, no less important than anyone listening to this on mine, right? Everybody on here. It's your podcast, your opportunity to get your views out there. And but I also understand that if you're busy and bombing around driving, listening to podcasts, you haven't got time for that shit. So anyway, thanks to the squad. www.KopTalkPodcast.com if you want to step up and help a brother out. So, guys, I'm going to sign off there. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm going to plan to be back with you tomorrow morning. Like I said, drop me an email, and if you've got anything you want to get off your chest, and we'll address it. All right, guys, don't forget, we've also got a YouTube channel, Kop Talk TV. You're very welcome over there. And, we'll speak soon, guys. All right, take care, and have a good day.